You know what destroys most people's potential? Their feelings. That's the truth nobody wants to admit. Everyone wants to talk about motivation, energy, passion, but nobody talks about how inconsistent those things are. One day you wake up and feel ready to conquer the world, and the next day you feel like doing nothing. If your actions depend on your feelings, you'll never be consistent, and if you're not consistent, you'll never win. That's why feelings are the enemy of greatness. Think about it. How many times have you said, "I'll start tomorrow"? How many times have you promised yourself that you'll get serious once you feel ready? You keep waiting for the perfect moment, the right mood, the spark of motivation. But that moment never comes. The successful don't wait to feel ready. They act even when every cell in their body screams to quit. That's what separates them from everyone else. Feelings are like waves. They rise and fall. They come and go. If you let them steer your life, you'll drift endlessly. But discipline. Discipline is the anchor that keeps you grounded when the storm hits. It's the structure that builds unbreakable men. You think the world's strongest, richest, most powerful people always feel like showing up. You think they wake up every day motivated, full of energy, eager to push forward. No, they feel tired. They feel stressed. They feel fear. But they move anyway because they learned that feelings don't decide action, purpose does. That's the difference between the man who dreams and the man who wins. The dreamer waits for motivation. The winner creates momentum. The dreamer says, "I don't feel like it today." The winner says, "It doesn't matter." The dreamer runs when he's inspired. The winner runs even when he's exhausted. Because discipline doesn't ask how you feel, it commands you to execute regardless. When you start to see your emotions as tests instead of obstacles, everything changes. Feeling lazy, that's the test. Feeling unmotivated, that's the test. Feeling like quitting, that's the test. Every day life throws emotional traps at you to see if you've got the strength to stay committed when comfort calls. And most people fail because they've been trained by society to obey their emotions. You're sad, you stop working. You're tired, you skip the gym. You're anxious, you run away from responsibility. And then you wonder why your life doesn't change. The truth is, feelings are just signals, not instructions. They're not meant to control you. They're meant to be controlled. The problem is, nobody teaches you how to command your mind. Everyone tells you to listen to your heart, follow your feelings, trust your emotions. That's terrible advice if you want to win, because your feelings are designed to keep you safe, not successful. They push you toward comfort and away from challenge. But comfort never made a man powerful. Challenge did. Pain did. Resistance did. You have to reprogram yourself to act opposite of your emotions. When your body says rest, train. When your mind says give up, go harder. When your emotions say hide, step up. That's how you rewire strength. That's how you create control. That's how you break the cycle of weakness that traps most people forever. You stop negotiating with your feelings and start commanding them. Every time you give in to laziness, you strengthen it. Every time you push through it, you weaken it. The same applies to fear, doubt, and distraction. They only control you because you feed them. But when you start ignoring them, when you start acting in spite of them, they lose power. You can literally train your mind like a muscle until your discipline overrides your emotion automatically. That's how unstoppable men are built: repetition, not inspiration. You've got to stop letting how you feel dictate what you do. Because if you keep waiting to feel good before you move, you'll spend your entire life waiting. Feelings don't build empires. Feelings don't make you rich, strong, respected, or free. Discipline does. The man who learns to master his emotions instead of obeying them is the man who can't be broken, can't be controlled, and can't be stopped by anything or anyone. People think discipline is punishment. They think it's about restriction, suffering, and sacrifice. But the truth is, discipline is the highest form of freedom you can ever experience. Because when you control yourself, nothing else controls you. Discipline isn't about being rigid, it's about being powerful. It's about building a life where your actions are dictated by your purpose, not your impulses. Most people are slaves, and they don't even know it. Slaves to their emotions, slaves to their cravings, slaves to the noise of the world. They move when they feel like it, stop when they're tired, quit when it gets hard, and then wonder why their life feels out of control. Real freedom comes when you own your mind. when you can tell yourself what to do and actually do it. Think about that. The average man can't even command himself to wake up early. He can't control his diet, his scrolling habits, his sleep, or his time, and yet he thinks he's free. He's not. He's trapped in invisible chains. The man who can't master himself is mastered by everything else, by comfort, distraction, and weakness. But the disciplined man, he's untouchable because he does what needs to be done whether he feels like it or not. Every time you practice discipline, you gain power. When you force yourself out of bed at 5 a.m., when you train even though your body hurts, when you focus when your mind wanders, you're not just achieving tasks, you're building control. And control is freedom. Because now you're not reacting to life, you're creating it. You decide where your energy goes. You decide what you tolerate. You decide who you become. That's real liberation, not chasing pleasure, but commanding your direction. Most people think freedom is doing whatever you want, whenever you want. That's not freedom, that's chaos. True freedom is having the strength to do what you must even when you don't want to. It's the ability to resist temptation, to delay gratification, to stay focused on your long-term vision while everyone else gets distracted by short-term comfort. Discipline is saying no to the things that don't serve you, even when they feel good. It's saying yes to the grind, the work, the struggle, because you understand that's what creates progress. When you live with discipline, you build momentum. Your mind starts to trust you. You stop breaking promises to yourself. And that's when real confidence is born. Confidence isn't about ego or arrogance. It's about knowing that you can rely on yourself. When you tell yourself you'll do something and actually do it, you build self-respect. And self-respect turns into power. That's why disciplined people move differently. They're not loud. They're not impulsive. They're calm, collected, focused. Because they know they're in control. Without discipline, you're a puppet. Your strings are pulled by whatever emotion hits you next. You feel tired, you stop. You feel bored, you quit. You feel scared, you hide. That's not living, that's reacting. You were born to lead yourself, to command your mind and your actions, to build a life that doesn't depend on how you feel in the moment. And that's only possible when you develop discipline strong enough to override your emotions. Discipline gives you order. It gives you consistency. It gives you structure in a world built on chaos. Look around, everyone is chasing pleasure, chasing dopamine, chasing ease. That's why they're miserable, because they've confused comfort with happiness. But comfort doesn't fulfill you. Discipline does. Discipline gives you progress, and progress gives you purpose. You start to feel alive again when you see yourself improving, when you feel yourself getting stronger, when you know you're not wasting time anymore. The most dangerous man is not the one who's fearless, it's the one who's disciplined, because he's not controlled by fear or laziness or temptation. He's consistent, and consistency beats talent every single time. The man who trains every day will always destroy the man who trains only when he's motivated. The man who works when it's hard will always rise above the man who works only when it's easy. Discipline makes you dependable. It makes you unstoppable. It makes you free. When you master discipline, you stop chasing balance, you create it. You stop chasing motivation, you replace it with momentum. You stop chasing control because now you are control. And that's what real power feels like. When nothing outside of you has power over you, not your feelings, not your surroundings, not other people's opinions, that's when you finally understand what it means to live free. We live in a time where men are weaker than ever before, not because they lack potential, but because they've been trained to avoid discomfort. Everywhere you look, the world is selling comfort. Fast food, quick money, instant pleasure, endless entertainment, everything is designed to make you feel good right now while silently stealing your strength, your focus, and your edge. The modern man has been softened by convenience. He's addicted to dopamine, terrified of struggle, and allergic to pain. And that's exactly why most men never become anything worth remembering. The truth is, comfort kills ambition. It kills drive. It kills masculinity. When life becomes too easy, you stop growing. You stop fighting. You stop evolving. You start living like everyone else, chasing small pleasures instead of big purpose. You become emotionally fragile because you've never built real toughness. That's the problem with this generation. They mistake comfort for happiness, and they mistake struggle for suffering. But struggle isn't suffering. Struggle is growth. Struggle is what sharpens you. It's what builds your mind, your body, and your willpower into something unbreakable. Every man who's ever built anything great did it through pain. Through consistency, repetition, and discomfort. You think champions wake up excited every day. You think warriors enjoy every battle. No, they endure. They push because they understand that growth only comes through resistance. You lift weights, it hurts. You train hard, it burns. You work long hours, it drains you. But that's how you evolve. Pain is the price of strength. The more you run from it, the weaker you become. Modern men have been raised to avoid every kind of hardship. They've been told that life should be easy, that emotions are more important than results, that feeling good is the goal. But the men who fall for that lie end up miserable. They sit around wondering why they're unhappy even though they have comfort. Because deep down, a man knows he was built for challenge. His soul craves struggle, mission, and conquest. Without those things, he loses his fire. He starts to drift, to numb himself, to waste his life chasing empty distractions. Every great man has walked through pain, not because he wanted to, but because he refused to stay average. The difference between the strong and the weak isn't intelligence. It isn't luck, it's how they handle discomfort. Weak men run from it. Strong men embrace it. Weak men complain about pressure. Strong men use it to perform. Weak men look for escape. Strong men look for ways to adapt and dominate. That's why the world belongs to the disciplined, because they're willing to do what others won't. When you start doing what's uncomfortable, your entire mindset changes. You stop chasing feelings and start chasing progress. You stop asking, do I feel like it? And start saying, it doesn't matter. You begin to trust yourself because you know you can handle anything. Discipline becomes your armor. Pain becomes your teacher. And you start realizing that comfort was never your friend, it was your biggest enemy all along. The truth is, comfort breeds weakness because it feeds the part of you that wants to stay small. It tells you to slow down, to relax, to take it easy. But the world doesn't reward ease, it rewards effort. It rewards those who keep moving when everyone else gives up. You want respect, earn it. You want power, suffer for it. You want freedom, discipline yourself for it. There's no shortcut, no hack, no secret formula. Just hard work, consistency, and pain, the kind of pain that transforms you. You don't grow when life is easy. You grow when you're tired but still moving, when you're uncertain but still focused, when you're uncomfortable but still disciplined. That's when you start to feel alive again. That's when you separate yourself from the weak, from the soft, from the ones who gave up. Because when you choose struggle, when you choose pain, when you choose the hard path every single day, you stop being average. You stop being normal. You become dangerous. You become powerful. You become the kind of man the world can't ignore. Every single morning when you wake up, you step onto a battlefield, not one made of guns or soldiers, but one built inside your own mind. It's a war between two versions of you. The disciplined you and the emotional you. The strong you and the weak you. The version that wants to chase greatness and the one that wants to stay comfortable. That's the fight that defines your life. And the truth is, most people lose that battle before their day even begins. When the alarm goes off, that's your first test. One voice says, get up, it's time to work. The other says, stay in bed, you deserve rest. That moment, that tiny, simple decision determines who's in control. The average man listens to the soft voice, the one that wants comfort, and he loses before he's even started. The strong man hears that same voice, but he ignores it. He understands that discipline means doing what must be done even when every fiber of your body wants to stop. That's the difference between weak men and great men. Every day is full of these battles. You don't feel like training, but you go anyway. You don't feel like working, but you grind anyway. You don't feel like staying focused, but you do it anyway. That's what real strength looks like, not waiting for motivation, but moving through resistance. Discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build by winning those tiny daily wars. Every time you choose the hard option, you're teaching your mind to obey you. Every time you give in to weakness, you're teaching it to control you. People always talk about success like it's some magical destination. But success isn't built in one big moment. It's built in thousands of small, Invisible victories, the ones nobody sees, the ones that happen when you're tired, bored, or doubting yourself. That's why it's called you versus you, because your biggest threat isn't outside, it's inside. Your laziness, your excuses, your distractions, your emotions, those are the enemies you have to destroy every single day. You can't expect greatness if you can't even master your mornings. You can't expect power if you can't control your impulses. You can't expect success if your emotions dictate your actions. Every day, life will throw tests at you. The world will tell you to take it easy. Your friends will tell you to relax. Your body will tell you it's too tired. Your mind will whisper that you're not ready. And every time you listen, you lose ground. Every time you obey those feelings, you step further away from the man you're supposed to become. You see, the battle isn't just physical, it's psychological. It's about controlling that voice inside your head that keeps trying to talk you out of your potential. That voice doesn't disappear, you just get stronger than it. You learn to treat it like background noise. You stop giving it power. Because once you realize that your emotions are just suggestions, not commands, you unlock real freedom. The disciplined man doesn't wake up and ask, "How do I feel?" He wakes up and says, "What needs to be done?" He's not chasing pleasure, he's chasing progress. He's not trying to feel good, he's trying to get better. That mindset is what separates winners from the rest. Most people are controlled by how they feel in the moment, but the great ones are controlled by what they want long term. Every morning you wake up, you're given a choice. Do you repeat yesterday's mistakes, or do you rise above them? Do you stay the same, or do you push harder? That decision compounds, it builds over time. And eventually you look back and realize that every little act of discipline, every rep, every early morning, every moment of focus created a version of you that the old you wouldn't even recognize. That's why every day is war. Because the man you were yesterday wants to pull you back into comfort, into weakness, into laziness. But you can't let him win. You have to kill that version of yourself over and over again until the disciplined version becomes your default. That's how champions are made, not by luck, not by talent, but by refusing to lose the daily war with themselves. Discipline is not built in comfort, it's forged in discomfort, in moments when everything inside you screams to stop, but you keep going anyway. That's where men separate themselves from boys, where strength separates from softness. Everyone wants to be successful, everyone wants to win, but only a few are willing to suffer for it. And that's what this game is all about, suffering on purpose. You have to get to a point where pain doesn't scare you anymore, where you learn to use discomfort as fuel instead of fear. Because the truth is, every great man you admire was once in pain too. He just refused to let that pain make him weak. Think about it, when everything is easy, nobody grows. Comfort is the killer of greatness. The gym doesn't get easier, your body just gets stronger. Life doesn't get lighter, your back just gets broader. That's the point of discipline, not to avoid pain, but to embrace it, to walk straight into it and say, "This won't break me." The man who runs from pain will always stay average. The man who walks through it will become unstoppable. Most people avoid discomfort like it's the enemy. They look for shortcuts, quick results, and soft paths. They think they can cheat the process, skip the grind, and still win. But the world doesn't work that way. You can't build strength without struggle. You can't build character without challenge. You can't build discipline without discomfort. That's why weak men stay weak. They avoid anything that makes them feel small or scared. Strong men chase it. They look for the hard things because they know every ounce of pain they endure is another layer of armor being built. When you're tired, when you're sore, when you're mentally drained, that's the exact moment you must keep pushing. That's when discipline steps in. Feelings are irrelevant. The body will always try to protect itself, to stay safe, to conserve energy. But greatness doesn't come from safety. It comes from willingly putting yourself in situations that test every fiber of your being. You've got to force yourself to go one more round, one more rep, one more mile. Because the moment you stop when it hurts, you're telling yourself that comfort matters more than growth. You see, the pain you feel today is not punishment, it's preparation. Life is going to hit you harder than any workout ever will. It's going to throw rejection, failure, heartbreak, and and lost your way. If you haven't trained your mind to keep going through discomfort, you'll collapse under that pressure. Discipline trains you to endure. It teaches your mind to stay calm under stress, to keep moving even when nothing around you feels fair. That's why the gym, the grind, the struggle, they're not just physical training, they're mental warfare. Every time you choose to keep going, you're telling your mind, I'm in charge here. And the more you do it, the stronger that mental muscle becomes. Discipline starts small, waking up early, eating clean, putting in the work even when no one's watching. But those small acts of control build the foundation for something much greater. They prepare you for the storms that life will inevitably throw at you. When everything falls apart, the disciplined man doesn't panic. He doesn't quit. He adapts. He endures. Because he's already trained himself to find strength and struggle. That's why pain is your greatest teacher. It exposes your limits and then dares you to break them. Most people let pain define them. The disciplined man uses it to refine him. Every time he suffers, he comes out sharper, tougher, more focused. Pain becomes the price he pays for power. Every sacrifice, every long night, every tough decision, it all compounds into something unshakable. So when discomfort comes, don't run, lean into it. Feel it. Use it. Let it carve out the man you're meant to be. Because if you can't handle being uncomfortable, you'll never handle being successful. Pain is not the enemy, it's the pathway. The disciplined man understands this truth deeply. If it's easy, it's not worth it. The harder it is, the more it's shaping you. The more it burns, the more it's building you. And the more you suffer for what you want, the greater your respect will be when you finally have it. The final truth about discipline is this: it's not something you do, it's something you become. It's not a habit, it's an identity. A disciplined man doesn't rely on motivation. He doesn't wake up and wonder if he feels like doing what needs to be done. He doesn't negotiate with his emotions. He wakes up and executes no matter what. That's the difference between the average and the elite. Average people let feelings control their actions. Disciplined men let actions control their feelings. You train yourself to move first, think later, because the man who waits for the perfect mindset before acting will never act at all. This world rewards results, not excuses. Nobody cares if you were tired, if you had a bad day, or if you didn't feel like showing up. Life doesn't give out sympathy trophies. It only respects those who stayed consistent. You don't build discipline overnight. It's a process of killing your weakness one decision at a time. Every time you say no to comfort, every time you choose work over laziness, every time you rise when your body screams to rest, you're building the version of yourself that can handle anything. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being relentless. A man with discipline becomes dangerous, not because he's violent, because he can't be stopped. He doesn't need motivation to move. He doesn't need validation to keep going. He becomes self-fueled. You could strip him of everything: money, fame, comfort, and he'd rebuild it all, because his power doesn't come from the outside. It's forged internally. Discipline makes you bulletproof to failure, because even when you fall, you'll stand again. That's what separates those who merely dream from those who dominate. People today are slaves to how they feel. They say, I'll go to the gym when I feel like it. I'll start my business when I feel ready. I'll change when I'm inspired. That's weakness disguised as logic. You'll never feel ready. You'll never feel like putting yourself through pain. Your emotions will lie to you every single day. But discipline is truth. Discipline says, I'll do it regardless. It's the voice that cuts through every excuse. And once you train that voice to lead your life, you stop being a victim of your emotions. You become their master. There's a moment somewhere between fatigue and frustration where most people quit. But that's where discipline truly begins. It's not what you do when it's easy. It's what you do when it's unbearable. The disciplined man doesn't see obstacles as reasons to stop. He sees them as proof he's on the right path. Every hardship is a test. Every distraction is a trap. Every temptation to quit is the universe asking, how badly do you want it? The disciplined man answers not with words, but with action. He just keeps moving. You see, discipline gives you freedom, real freedom. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, but that kind of freedom leads to chaos. The real kind of freedom comes from control over your time, your habits, your energy, and your emotions. When you're disciplined, no addiction owns you, no distraction rules you, no weakness defines you. You become free because you've mastered yourself. And that's the rarest power in this world, self-mastery. Every great empire, every legacy, every name remembered in history was built on discipline. Not passion, not luck, discipline. Passion fades, motivation dies, but discipline survives. It's the engine that keeps running long after excitement burns out. That's why the disciplined man always wins in the long run. When everyone else gets tired, when everyone else gives up, he's still there, still grinding, still focused. Because he doesn't care about how he feels, he only cares about what must be done. Discipline makes you predictable to success. If you stay consistent long enough, success becomes inevitable. That's not arrogance, it's cause and effect. You put in the work every single day, and eventually, the world has no choice but to bend to your will. It's not luck, it's law. The law of effort, the law of consistency, the law of sacrifice. Discipline is the currency you pay to buy the life you want. And when that life finally comes, when you look around and realize you've built something unbreakable, it won't be because of luck or talent. It'll be because of every day you got up when you didn't feel like it. Every hour you grinded when no one was watching. Every moment you chose control over chaos. Discipline isn't just the foundation of success, it's the fire that keeps burning long after motivation is gone. In the end, everything comes down to this: discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to become. It's the invisible force that separates the men who talk from the men who execute, the dreamers from the doers, the weak from the unstoppable. Feelings will always change, but discipline remains. That's why the strongest men in the world aren't ruled by emotion, they're ruled by purpose. When you make discipline your lifestyle, you stop being controlled by the ups and downs of life. You become stable, focused, unshakable. The world could collapse around you, but you'll still move forward because you've trained your mind to obey, not react. That's real power, not the kind that's loud or flashy, but the kind that commands respect without saying a word. The kind that builds empires, wins battles, and leaves legacies. Every man wants results, but few want the discipline it takes to